It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought us to the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained by rational principles the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the powerful Kingdom of England and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and he explained it in ways that were understandable to the people, to all of the people. A great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we are able to reason, we're able to talk to each other, we're able to listen to each other, and we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it. Hello, this is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back again with another edition of Rudy's Common Sense. Today, our subject is going to be maybe a surprising one. So I'll kind of approach it a little slowly. So this Black Lives Matter movement, when you hear it, please don't think it's about black lives. It's about an infinitesimal proportion of black lives. The ones that are in some way involved with the police. Not the 800,000 or 900,000, the 8 or 9,000 per year that are killed by citizens, 90% of which are other black people. No, they don't care about that. Nor do they care about the 1-year-old child who was killed in Chicago, in New York this weekend, or the 13 that were killed in Chicago, many of whom were black, or gosh, I could take you to Philadelphia or St. Louis or Minneapolis, and we could talk about the same thing, and we could talk about Black Lives Matter's total lack of care. But they have an agenda. Their agenda is to change, ultimately destroy, the government of the United States the way it presently is constituted. They want a totally different kind of government that is on a socialist communist model, and that gives preference to people of one race. That's about the best way you could describe it. Interesting. This agenda goes back to 2016, 2017. That's when George Soros set out on his own agenda. His own agenda was exactly the same as Black Lives Matter, but he wanted to focus on the criminal justice system and destroy it. Basically make it into an anarchist system in a similar way to Black Lives Matter, with the same platform. You could say it was accidental, but it's alleged that George Soros substantially supports Black Lives Matter with money. He certainly supports them by having the same agenda and puts money behind that agenda. He has an agenda for doing away with drug crimes. He has an agenda to empty out the jails. He has an agenda to end money bail. He has an agenda to defund police departments. He has an agenda to not enforce quality of life crimes, including lower level property crimes. Very similar to their agenda. And they support it through protests that turn into riots, sometimes through violence. He supports it by contributing huge amounts of money, like, I don't know, over the years, 25, 30 million in a short period of time, since 2015, 2016. And he puts the money into places where there generally wasn't the expenditure of a great deal of money. District attorneys' races. District attorneys in most of the country, the people who prosecute crime, are elected. They're not appointed like the U.S. attorneys are by the president, which has always been a matter of some concern because there's a fear that it would politicize it. And in many of these states, they'd become even nonpartisan races. In other words, not Republican, Democrat. And rarely do district attorneys' races involve the political distinctions that occur between the two parties. they're generally based on, actually, they used to be based on who was tougher on crime. He turned them into trying to elect the people who were the softest on crime, very often not former prosecutors, very often either criminal defense lawyers or civil rights lawyers who believe that the criminal justice system has to be, changed into a prosecute very few people and let everybody out of jail system. Really, that's the kind of people he supported. He didn't just do it once, though. He's been supporting them. He's been supporting them for years now, and that support has done a pretty good job of deteriorating the criminal justice system. In fact, in a lot of the cities where you see this tremendous increase in murder, those cities have the benefit of George Soros paid for and produced district attorneys who basically don't prosecute people. I'm serious. They don't prosecute people. And therefore, it is quite obvious that there's going to be crime problems. Another one of the strange cases is the one in St. Louis involving the McCluskeys, Mark and Patricia McCluskey, 63 and 61. Two lawyers who look like they made it the hard way, worked hard, relatively poor, worked their way through law school, have developed a really very, very successful law practice. They, as far as I know, they were basic supporters of the protest movement. Like all of us, found the killing of Mr. Floyd outrageous and believe justice has to happen and some changes have to take place. But also, apparently, don't agree with riots, because by the time they reached their house, the Black Lives Matter had turned this into a riot, and they broke down the gates, came in, and threatened them with killing their dog, threatened them with taking over their house, threatened them about how they were going to enjoy their bedroom. And Mark and Patricia went inside, and he took out an AR-15, and she took out a pistol, and they stood there. I mean, definitely outnumbered, but still protecting their house, protecting what they call in Missouri their castle. There's a castle doctrine that allows you to protect your house. There's also a stand your ground law, which allows you to protect yourself. They were doing both. All of a sudden, the district attorney, when this is over, district attorney named Kimberly Gardner, decides that she's thinking about prosecuting them. She's going to prosecute them, I don't know for what. I guess attempted murder or threats or violation of civil rights, like interfering in a riot. I don't know what she's going to prosecute them for. I don't think it much matters, because I think she's going to prosecute them because she's a biased, prejudiced tool of Black Lives Matter. Oh, maybe not. No. I mean, who funded her campaign, right? She's also been given to us by Soros. He's a major funder of her campaign. She ran on a destroy the criminal justice system platform, which all of his people do, and now she's going to do it. Bought and paid for by George Soros, who is really interested in protecting St. Louis. Or is he really interested in destroying the United States, piece by piece? Because it isn't, we've talked about St. Louis, Contra Costa, California, and Chicago, where he's made infiltrations. But he's done this. He's done this all over the country. This isn't just those three places. He's been doing this for quite some time. This would be a good time to take a short break. President Trump has a huge announcement for his top supporters. We will be celebrating the 2020 Republican National Convention this summer, and he wants you to enter for your chance to join him at the convention. If you win, the team will cover the flight, the hotel, and it'll give you a VIP pass. I'll give you VIP passes, actually, for yourself and a guest. All you have to do is text Rudy to 88022 today for your chance to meet President Trump at the convention. Again, that's me, RUDY, to 88022 to enter to win this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be his special guest. paid for by Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated. Thank you for coming back. But let me just give you a little rundown of them. I can't go over all of them, but I go to some of the most significant ones. In 2017, he supported a candidate for DA in Philadelphia who really is a clown, a complete clown, a guy named Krasner. Krasner has become the DA there, and the police are basically in full-out revolt because he won't prosecute what he considers to be small property crimes. Now, small property crimes can be 500, 1,000, 1,500. By the way, when you don't prosecute the small property crimes, those people who do it start doing bigger property crimes. It's called the broken windows theory, which they also oppose and want to do away with. Black Lives Matter and Soros, same agenda. They both want to do away with bail, right out of the Black Lives Matter handbook. They want to let people out of prison, Black Lives Matter playbook. George Soros is funding this Marxist, terrorist-inspired document. The Marxists are the three people who founded this thing, and the terrorist is Susan Rosenberg, who raises money for them, who should be in jail, who got a 58-year sentence for being involved in an organization named Black Panthers, who used to kill police officers. That's what this is all about, Black Lives Matter. That's why I don't see how you can prosecute somebody for wanting to remove it from the streets of their city. I don't want a group that hates white people, that hates America, that wants to destroy our system of government, that has been organized by Marxists and funded by terrorists. I don't want that seen by my children. And the DA there, Becton, Soros paid for DA, wants to prosecute the people, or is prosecuting the people, who did it for a hate crime. This is a hate crime. Black Lives Matter. It's dedicated to hate. Read what they write. Don't listen to the corrupt media that covers up for them. Read what they write and look at what they do. And the guy putting the money behind it is George Soros. He denies it. But this is too much of a coincidence that he's putting in these DAs that want to undercut the criminal justice system and the police that have exactly the same agenda as Black Lives Matter. And he's putting millions and millions behind it. In Philadelphia, he gets this loser DA elected named Krasner, and he put $1.7 million into the race. That's a heck of a contribution to the DA's race. These used to be virtually uncontested races or contested based on who has the most experience or the best ethical background. And as one group there that was like a good government group that picks DAs says, when he comes in, it starts to feel like Philadelphians lose control of our city to Soros, and they don't know why is Soros doing it. Well, he's doing it so they can have their agents all over America executing the Black Lives Matter agenda, which is to do away with the police and ultimately to do away with our system of owning property. Okay, we have Philadelphia. We got Krasner there. And, oh, by the way, we got property crime going through the roof there. So Soros' gift to Philadelphia is that people are getting their stuff stolen left and right. Thanks, George. Very helpful. And almost all these cities, by the way. Look at Chicago. We'll talk about that in a minute. But think about Chicago. Just keep thinking about Chicago. So here we have in 2018, this is the one with Becton. He gets his friend Diana Becton. He put $49,646. That was just one contribution. And she wins, virtually no qualifications for the job. And she's the one who is going to prosecute the people for hate crime just in trying to wipe out Black Lives Matter. I don't know. What about all the people that do all the crazy painting on walls and stuff like that? The graffiti people. They don't prosecute them anymore. My city, I got rid of all the graffiti in my city. All of it. I drove around last night in Brooklyn. It's all back again, thanks to de Blasio. You don't prosecute those people for vandalizing people's houses and factories and buildings, and you prosecute these people for just wanting to get rid of a sign that represents a Marxist hate group that hates America? I don't know. Maybe they should just be told not to do it, or maybe they should be given an award for doing it. Oh my goodness! And then we got another one here, and this one is San Diego District Attorney race, where he put in $1.5 million to elect in this case a again an unqualified candidate to run against the district attorney there. Then he put in another $402,000 in the race in San Diego, and he had that was twice as much as the public defender's race had raised. So we have him in California. Then we had him in Monroe County, New York, little Monroe County, New York, and he's supporting a candidate named Sherry Curry Mitchell. He put in $810,000 in little Monroe County, and what she wanted was expansive cutbacks in use of cash bail, Black Lives Matter, and legalization or decriminalization of marijuana, Black Lives Matter. Then he won 2 elections in Virginia in 2019, in little counties in Virginia, which there'd be no reason for him to have any possible involvement other than they ran on the same platform of deconstruct the criminal justice system. And then he is now engaged in a real big one. What he's doing in this one is he's going to go up against the District Attorney of Los Angeles. The District Attorney of Los Angeles, the incumbent district attorney, is named Jackie Lacey. She is, I believe, the first African American or black woman, whichever you prefer, that's the way to say it, first black woman district attorney in Los Angeles County. And by all reports, is a good, balanced district attorney. And there was a U.S. district attorney in San Francisco named George Gascon. George Gascon is a progressive. He believes in no cash bail. He believes in not prosecuting property crimes. He believes in letting people out of jail if they've gotten too high a sentence. He's basically a pro-criminal district attorney, which really means you don't need a defense lawyer anymore because the district attorney will defend you. Kind of ruins the system, but I'll tell you what else it does. So since he became district attorney in San Francisco, San Francisco has the highest property crime rate in the nation. I didn't say they had an increase in their property crime. I said they have the highest property crime rate in the nation. So Gascon got thrown out of office. Even the mayor of San Francisco and the city attorney of San Francisco wanted him out. So now Soros is taking his puppet from San Francisco, where he ruined San Francisco with his high property crime, and he's bringing it down to Los Angeles, which until the violent crime started with the Black Lives Matter protests that turned into riots, was actually doing a lot better than San Francisco. Not doing as well now, but still doing pretty well on property crime compared to San Francisco. So he's bringing Gascon. He's going to run Gascon against Jackie Lacey, who looked like she was going to be unopposed because nothing wrong with her. And right now, Gascon's ahead in the polls because this guy has given him a fortune. So he can do to L.A. what he did to San Francisco, which is make it the highest property crime place in the country. Am I missing something here? What's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with Soros? Why would you run a failed district attorney who made his city more dangerous against what appears to be a good district attorney who's also black? Because actually, in the long run, it's not even about Black Lives Matter or blacks or whites. It's about getting control of our government. It's a Marxist agenda. It's an anarchist agenda to try to get control of our government, to make us hate our government, to find ways that they alienate us from our government. And Soros is a very material part of it. This would be a good time to take a break. Here where I live in New York City, you see people wearing these more and more as they commute. They're earbuds from Raycon. When commuting, you'll see them all over the city. But they're great to wear right now from home on video conference calls, or when you're exercising, or you're watching this video podcast, or if you want to listen to music. You just put them in, hit the music, and I'm listening to Bocelli Con te partirò. You can listen to your favorite music. Raycon earbuds are really comfortable to wear because they connect by Bluetooth seamlessly, and you're not having to untangle all these headphone wires. The first time you listen to your favorite music, whether it's opera or something else, you're going to be amazed at how good the sound comes from this little thing. What Raycon has done is truly amazing. You get 6 hours of playing time between charges. And when you pop them back into the box, it charges efficiently and very, very quickly. And they're not that expensive. You're going to save a lot of money on these. You buy these online. Buy raycon.com/Rudy G. That's raycon.com/Rudy G. Get them now. You're going to really enjoy them. Thank you. Thank you for joining us again. I've only covered a few of the DA's races that he's involved himself in each case putting in a subversive district attorney. In many cases, without any regard to the people of that city, because people of that city are suffering mightily from the crimes that are now taking place that would not take place if you had a competent district attorney. Because for the police to be effective, you need a competent police department, and you need a competent district attorney, and you need a competent mayor. That's how you bring crime down. That's how I did it. I didn't do it by myself. I did it with 2 good U.S. attorneys and 5 good district attorneys. And I was heavily involved in making sure that at least district attorneys were properly funded. And none of them were idiots like this. None of them were pro-criminal district attorneys. They were fair. Some of them were legendary, like Bob Morgenthau. They were fair, but they weren't, let the criminals out of prison district attorneys. We have defense lawyers to keep people out of prison. Prosecutors are supposed to put people in prison who endanger the public. And when they don't, we have 63 shootings, like in Chicago. Or we have a 1-year-old child killed in New York. And then another 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 shootings. We're again having days in which 12 hours in a row, shooting, all over New York. This is not, please, understand this. This is not isolated. This is not spontaneous. This is planned. This is planned by Black Lives Matter. It's funded by Soros to the tune of $30 or $40 million. And the plan is to change your government, to take it away from you, to take away from you a government based on free enterprise, to take away from you your Second Amendment right to bear arms, to take away from you really your right to have a religion. Soros is a notorious atheist, proclaims the fact that he's an atheist. So are Marxists, by the way. It's one of the cores of Marxism is atheism. And one of the cores of Marxism is no private property. They want your property. They want the government to control it. But they do want one preferred class, and that's the people who are they're going to get like a lifetime salary. And that's going to be black people will get that. And they'll also get to choose property that they want, and that's the reparations for slavery. Except it'll include black people that came from the Caribbean, and it's going to get paid by white people who never had anything to do with slavery, ever. I mean, for example, my family came to America the latter part of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th, after the Civil War. And they came when Italians were the second largest group of people being lynched in America, right behind blacks. So I don't know why people who came here after slavery was over, I don't know why they would pay, what are they paying reparations for? They didn't do anything. Their family did anything. Finally, why would somebody pay for what their family did 150, 160, 170 years ago? Don't we sort of have a concept, this isn't a legal concept, it's more like a Western civilization moral concept. That we don't blame the son, we say son, it would be daughter, for the sins of the father? Huh? Isn't that sort of a basic sense of fairness in Western civilization? Well, they hate our civilization. They hate it. They find everything wrong with it, and they hate our country. And that's why they tear down monuments and burn flags and kneel when national. It's all part of getting as many people to hate America. They undermine our educational system with this 619 program. We'll do more on this. I want you to see that what you're facing is a planned, pretty well thought out 3, 4, 5 years ago, movement to get rid of the police, get rid of the government the way we know it, to get rid of the rights that we have, like our right to private property, and to replace it with something much closer to communism, Marxism, socialism. It's all there. Take the time to read about it, and don't be propagandized by NBC, CBS, ABC, the New York Times, the Washington Post. I left a few of the other beauties out. I don't know if they don't bother to read. I don't know that if they hate Trump so much they'll accept only anything. Or I don't know that they've come to hate their country too. I just don't know. But that's what they do. They try to get you to hate the country, and they haven't succeeded yet. But they're making a darn heck of a try for it in this election. This election could be a turning point because Joe Biden embraces this. Well, Joe Biden embraces anything they bring up because he doesn't know what he's doing. He would, first of all, I don't know even when he was Compass Menace if he wouldn't have just gone along because he basically was an empty suit that would go along with anything. But now he's not Compass Menace. You know that. So this is a very, very important election. We have got to get together. We have to be together to preserve the American way of life. George Soros, Black Lives Matter, and the left wing are trying to rip it away from us. And I'll be darned if they're going to get it. This is too beautiful a country. It has done too many great things, even with its sins and faults, to have these people tear down its reputation, burn its flag, and destroy it. Not going to happen. And we're going to pray to God because we need the strength to stand up to them. And we need the strength to defend the people that are being persecuted by them, like people in St. Louis, like the people in Contra Costa who stand up. We got to be there for them. So thank you very much, and we'll be back in a few days with another segment of Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense. Thank you.